Do you know why you reject money exactly at the moment when you need it most? There is an unconscious pattern that 93% of women carry, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. For most of your life, you've been trained to believe that wanting money makes you selfish, that desiring abundance makes you shallow, that pursuing prosperity makes you less spiritual, less feminine, less good. But what if I told you that rejecting money is actually a form of violence against your own spirit? Let me tell you about a woman named Cordelia. She was 49 years old, a brilliant marketing executive who had worked her way up through a male-dominated industry with nothing but her intelligence, her persistence, and her unwavering belief in herself. For 27 years, she had given everything to her company. She arrived at the office at 6:32 in the morning and left at 8:45 at night. She had built campaigns that generated millions of dollars for her clients, had won awards that filled an entire wall of her office, had mentored dozens of younger women who looked up to her as a role model. And then came the promotion, the corner office, the salary of $123,000, the recognition she had been working toward for her entire career. Everything she had ever wanted was being handed to her on a silver platter. But as she sat in that boardroom at 2:15 on a Thursday afternoon, listening to her CEO explain the terms of her new position, feeling the soft leather of the chair beneath her, smelling the lingering scent of coffee from the morning meeting, hearing the distant hum of traffic 12 floors below, something inside her began to rebel. The voice in her head started its familiar whisper. You don't deserve this. You're not qualified enough. Someone else should get this opportunity. You're taking this away from someone who needs it more. You're being greedy. Your parents didn't have money like this. Your grandmother would be ashamed. Good women don't chase money. Spiritual women don't care about material things. And before she could stop herself, before she could think it through, before she could remember all the late nights and early mornings and sacrifices she had made, she heard her own voice saying the words that would haunt her for months to come. I'm not sure I'm ready for this level of responsibility. She sabotaged herself. Right there in that boardroom, with her dream being offered to her freely, she chose limitation over expansion, fear over faith, the familiar prison of financial struggle over the unknown territory of abundance. She turned down the promotion. She said no to the money. She rejected the very thing her soul had been calling in for decades. If this resonates with you, if you recognize this pattern of self-sabotage in your own life, I want you to subscribe to this channel. Because what I'm about to share with you over the next hour will change not just your relationship with money, but your entire understanding of what it means to be a woman who receives. Each week, there's a new teaching waiting for you, a new key to unlock the abundance that is your birthright. But first, I want you to feel into your body right now. Place your hand on your chest, right over your heart. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat beneath your palm. Now think about the last time money came to you, whether it was a paycheck or a gift or an unexpected windfall. What happens in your body when you think about receiving money? Do you feel expansion or contraction? Do you feel joy or guilt? Do you feel deserving or ashamed? Most women feel their bodies tighten when they think about receiving money. Their shoulders rise toward their ears. Their breath becomes shallow. Their stomach clenches. This is not because money is bad. This is because you've been programmed to believe that wanting money is bad, that having money is bad, that being a woman who receives abundantly is somehow a betrayal of your goodness, your spirituality, your femininity. While you're feeling this, I want you to go down to the comments and share with me. How do you sabotage your own abundance? What story do you tell yourself when money starts to flow toward you? What excuses do you make? What fears arise? There's no right answer, only your truth. And your truth is the beginning of your freedom. Because here's what Cordelia discovered 6 months later, when she was struggling to pay her bills, when she was watching younger, less experienced colleagues get promoted around her, when she was lying awake at night, wondering how she could have been so foolish. The money wasn't the problem. The opportunity wasn't the problem. The problem was that she had been taught to equate her worthiness with her willingness to struggle, to sacrifice, to settle for less than what she deserved. Right now, I want you to do something that might feel revolutionary. I want you to practice receiving, not metaphorically, not spiritually, but physically. Sit up straight in your chair, Uncross your arms and legs and place both hands in your lap with your palms facing up. Yes, literally, turn your palms up toward the sky as if you're about to receive something precious being placed into your hands. This is how your energy needs to be positioned to receive money. Open, welcoming, ready. Most women unconsciously cross their arms when money is mentioned, turn their bodies away when opportunities arise, and keep their hands clenched in fists when abundance tries to flow toward them. Your body language is speaking louder than your words, and it's saying no thank you to the very thing you're praying for. Now, with your palms open and your heart open, I want you to repeat these 7 words with me. These are not just words. They are a frequency, a vibration that calls abundance directly to you. Say them first as a whisper, then in your normal voice, then as a firm declaration that leaves no room for doubt. First, as a whisper, I deserve and receive abundance. Feel the words moving through your body like warm honey. Notice where there's resistance, where your throat wants to close, where your chest wants to contract. Don't fight it. Just notice. Now, in your normal speaking voice, I deserve and receive abundance. Let the words fill the space around you. Let them vibrate in your bones. Let them sink into the part of you that has been hungry for permission to want more, to have more, to be more. And now, as a firm declaration that reaches every corner of your being, I deserve and receive abundance. Let this be your truth. Let this be your reality. Let this be the frequency you broadcast to the universe from this moment forward. Do you feel that? That shift in the energy around you? That loosening in your chest? That warmth spreading through your palms? This is what it feels like when you stop rejecting money and start receiving it. This is your natural state. This is who you were before the world taught you that wanting abundance was somehow wrong. Breathe into this feeling. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw relax. Let your breath deepen. Your body is remembering something it forgot long ago, that you are meant to be abundant, that you are designed to receive, that there is nothing shameful or selfish or unspiritual about living in prosperity. Pause for a moment. Are you feeling something shift? A change in the tension in your body? An opening where there was once resistance? A lightness where there was once heaviness? What is your body telling you right now? This is important. This is the beginning of rewiring decades of programming that told you receiving money was dangerous. And while you're integrating this new feeling, this new frequency, I want you to share in the comments which word caused the most resistance for you. Was it deserve that made your stomach clench? Was it receive that made your throat close? Or was it abundance that felt too big, too much, too dangerous to claim? This resistance is information. It's showing you exactly where your healing needs to happen, because what you resist in yourself, you reject in the world. If you can't say, I deserve abundance, without feeling guilty, how can you expect abundance to flow to you freely? If you can't open your arms to receive without feeling selfish, how can money find its way into your experience? Your internal relationship with receiving is creating your external experience of lack or abundance. Let me share something Louise Hay taught that most people never heard. Something she whispered to a small group of women at a retreat in Big Sur 37 years ago. She said, "Poverty is violence against the spirit. When a woman rejects money, she is committing an act of aggression against her own soul." These words stopped every conversation in that room. These words changed the trajectory of every woman who heard them. Because here's what Louise understood that most spiritual teachers miss. Money is not separate from spirituality. Money is energy. Money is love made manifest. Money is the universe's way of supporting your dreams, your growth, your capacity to serve. When you reject money, you're not being humble or spiritual or good. You're rejecting the very energy that could amplify your ability to heal, to help, to create positive change in the world. For generations, women have been conditioned to believe that goodness and prosperity cannot coexist. We've been taught that to be a good woman, we must sacrifice. To be a spiritual woman, we must struggle. To be a worthy woman, we must settle for less than what we desire. This conditioning runs so deep that most women don't even recognize it as conditioning. They think it's truth. They think it's virtue. They think it's the way things are supposed to be. But let me tell you what the science shows us about this programming. When a woman thinks about receiving money, her nervous system often goes into fight or flight mode. Her cortisol levels spike. Her breathing becomes shallow. Her muscles tense. Her brain literally treats the approach of money as if it were a threat to her survival. This is not because money is dangerous. This is because she has been taught that receiving money will make her unsafe in other ways, that it will make her bad, selfish, greedy, unlovable. Neuroscience research shows us that beliefs create neural pathways in the brain, and these pathways become stronger every time we repeat the belief. So every time you think, I can't accept this, it's too much. Every time you say, I don't need anything expensive, every time you downplay your desires or apologize for your success, you're literally strengthening the neural pathway that says receiving money is dangerous. But here's the beautiful truth that Louise discovered. Neural pathways can be changed. Your brain is plastic, which means it can be rewired. You can create new pathways that support abundance instead of sabotaging it. You can train your nervous system to recognize money as a friend, not a threat. You can reprogram your subconscious mind to expect prosperity instead of preparing for lack. The first layer of resistance that arises when women start practicing receiving is the fear of becoming greedy. What if I want too much? What if I become obsessed with money? What if I lose my spiritual values? These fears are programmed responses, not intuitive wisdom. True greed comes from scarcity, from the belief that there's not enough. When you know there's infinite abundance available, you naturally want to share it, to circulate it, to use it in service of something greater than yourself. Place both hands on your heart right now and breathe into your worthiness. Feel your heart beating beneath your palms. This heart that beats for you, this body that carries you, this mind that creates and dreams and loves, this spirit that came here to experience all the richness life has to offer. You are not separate from abundance. You are not excluded from prosperity. You are not too much, too little, too late, or too anything to receive the financial blessings that are waiting for you. If this understanding is penetrating the layers of old programming, if you're feeling the truth of your inherent worthiness starting to awaken in your bones, I want you to subscribe to this channel, because what we're uncovering here is just the beginning. There are practices, there are tools, there are specific techniques that will help you not just understand your worthiness intellectually, but feel it cellularly, live it daily, express it boldly. Now that you understand the foundation, let's move into practical application. I'm going to give you 3 specific practices that will begin rewiring your relationship with money immediately. These aren't just exercises. These are acts of revolution against a system that taught you to remain small, struggling, and dependent. The first practice is what I call the blank check exercise. I want you to write yourself a check. Get an actual piece of paper or use your phone to write it down, but make it real. Write it as if you were writing a check to someone else. Put today's date at the top. Write your full name in the pay to the order of line. And then, in the amount section, write a number that feels both exciting and slightly scary. Maybe it's $5,000. Maybe it's $50,000. Maybe it's $500,000. The exact amount doesn't matter. What matters is that you choose an amount that makes your heart race a little, that makes the voice in your head say, that's too much, or you can't have that, or who do you think you are? Write this check without apologizing, without qualifying it, without adding explanations about what you would do with the money or why you deserve it. Just write the check as a simple declaration. I am worth this amount. I can receive this amount. I am open to this amount flowing into my life. When you're finished writing it, don't hide it away. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Let it be a constant reminder that you are practicing receiving instead of rejecting. The second practice is your new morning financial mantra. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you get out of bed, before you start thinking about your to-do list, I want you to say these words out loud. Money flows to me with ease and grace. Say it 3 times, letting each repetition sink deeper into your subconscious mind. Feel the truth of these words. Imagine money as a river that flows naturally toward you, not because you're chasing it or forcing it or manipulating it, but because you've removed the barriers that were blocking its natural flow. Most women start their days thinking about what they don't have enough of. Not enough time, not enough energy, not enough money. But when you start your day declaring that money flows to you with ease, you're setting an entirely different energetic tone. You're telling your subconscious mind that abundance is natural, that receiving is safe, that prosperity is your birthright. The third practice is visualization, but not the kind you might think. I don't want you to visualize yourself having money. I want you to visualize yourself receiving money. See yourself in a specific situation where money is being offered to you. Maybe it's a job offer. Maybe it's a client saying yes to your proposal. Maybe it's someone paying you back money they owe you. Maybe it's an unexpected gift or inheritance. But here's the key. Visualize yourself receiving without resistance. See yourself saying, yes, thank you, instead of, oh, you don't have to, or, are you sure? Or, I can't accept this. See your body relaxed and open instead of tense and contracted. See your face expressing gratitude instead of guilt. See yourself as a woman who naturally, easily, gracefully receives abundance because she knows she is worthy of it. Let me tell you about a woman named Wilhelmina. She was a freelance graphic designer who had been struggling for 8 years to make enough money to support herself and her 2 children. She was incredibly talented, but every time a client wanted to pay her what her work was actually worth, she would find a way to lower the price. I don't want to seem greedy, she would tell herself. They probably can't afford that much. I should just be grateful they want to work with me at all. Then she started practicing these 3 exercises. She wrote herself a check for $75,000 and put it on her bathroom mirror where she would see it every morning. She started declaring that money flowed to her with ease, even though her bank account said otherwise. And she visualized herself confidently accepting payment for her work, without apologizing or discounting her rates. 4 months later, she called me crying. Not from sadness, but from disbelief and joy. She had just signed 3 new contracts in 1 week, all at rates that were double what she had been charging before. It's like the universe suddenly remembered I exist, she said. But I know that's not what happened. I finally remembered that I exist. I finally gave myself permission to receive. Which of these 3 practices makes your heart race? Which one makes your stomach contract with fear? Which one makes the voice in your head start listing all the reasons it won't work? That's the practice you need most. That's where your breakthrough is waiting. You have the power to completely transform your financial reality, not through force or manipulation or grinding yourself into exhaustion, but through alignment with your inherent worthiness. The women who receive abundantly aren't lucky or special or different from you in any fundamental way. They simply learn to say yes when abundance presents itself, and you can learn this too. Let me give you 2 advanced practices that will accelerate your transformation exponentially. These practices require more courage than the ones we've already explored, because they ask you to step fully into your power as a woman who deserves everything good that life has to offer. The 4th practice is what I call the abundance decree. This is not an affirmation. This is not a hope or a wish or a request. This is a declaration of truth that you speak with the full authority of your divine nature. Stand up wherever you are. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Place your hands over your heart. Take 3 deep breaths to center yourself, and then declare with absolute conviction, I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Say it again, louder this time. I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Let the words boom through your body like thunder. Let them shake loose any remaining doubt about your worthiness. Let them echo in your cells until every part of you knows it's true. This is not about convincing yourself of something that isn't true. This is about claiming something that has always been true, but that you've been conditioned to forget. Abundance is your divine inheritance. Prosperity is your spiritual birthright. You don't need to earn it, deserve it, or qualify for it. You simply need to accept it. The 5th practice is creating what I call a receiving anchor. Choose a specific physical gesture that you'll use every time an opportunity to receive money presents itself. It could be placing your hand on your heart. It could be taking a deep breath and relaxing your shoulders. It could be pressing your palms together in prayer position. The specific gesture doesn't matter. What matters is that you train yourself to do this gesture automatically whenever money is offered to you. This anchor serves two purposes. First, it interrupts the automatic pattern of rejection that most women have been programmed to execute. Instead of immediately saying no or deflecting or minimizing, you pause, you do your gesture, and you give yourself a moment to consciously choose to receive. Second, it connects you back to your body, back to your breath, back to your center, where your wisdom lives instead of letting fear make the decision for you. Let me explain the mechanics of what happens inside you when money approaches. Your nervous system has been trained to treat the approach of abundance as a threat. When someone offers to pay you well for your work, when an opportunity for financial gain presents itself, when money starts flowing toward you more easily than usual, your sympathetic nervous system often activates. Your body floods with stress hormones. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your muscles tense. Your mind starts racing with all the ways this could go wrong. But when you use your receiving anchor, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system instead. You signal to your body that it's safe to receive, safe to expand, safe to say yes to abundance. Your breathing deepens, your muscles relax, your mind clears, and you can make decisions from wisdom instead of fear. The science is clear. What you practice grows stronger. Every time you consciously choose to receive instead of reject, you're strengthening the neural pathways that support abundance. Every time you use your receiving anchor to stay centered when money approaches, you're training your nervous system to associate prosperity with safety instead of danger. But here's what I need you to understand about this process. You are in complete control. You have absolute power over your relationship with money. The patterns that have been keeping you stuck in financial struggle are not permanent features of your personality. They're not character flaws or spiritual deficiencies or evidence that you're somehow broken or undeserving. They're simply habits that can be changed through conscious practice and loving repetition. You get to choose, right now in this moment, whether you want to continue operating from the old programming that says receiving money is dangerous, or whether you want to step into the truth that says receiving money is natural. You get to choose whether you want to keep apologizing for your desires, or start claiming them boldly. You get to choose whether you want to remain a woman who struggles financially or become a woman who flows with abundance. The truth about transformation is that it happens in recognizable stages, and knowing what to expect can help you stay committed to the process even when your old patterns try to pull you back into familiar limitation. I want to give you a clear map of what the journey from financial rejection to abundant receiving looks like, so you can track your progress and celebrate your victories along the way. In the first 3 days of practicing these techniques, you'll likely experience what I call awareness breakthrough. This is when you start noticing how often you automatically say no to money, or downplay your value, or deflect opportunities for financial growth. You might catch yourself saying, "Oh, you don't have to pay me that much," or "I'm not worth what you're offering," or "I feel guilty charging this amount." Don't judge these patterns when you notice them. Celebrate them. Awareness is the first step toward change, and you can't transform what you can't see. By day 7, most women experience what I call the first acceptance. This is when you successfully receive something, monetary or otherwise, without immediately deflecting, apologizing, or minimizing it. Maybe someone compliments your work, and you say thank you, instead of, "Oh, it was nothing." Maybe a client pays you on time, and you feel gratitude instead of surprise. Maybe you find $20 on the street, and you pick it up and say, "Thank you, universe," instead of, "This probably belongs to someone else." These moments might seem small, but they represent massive shifts in your energetic relationship with receiving. During week 2, you'll likely experience what I call opportunity emergence. This is when new possibilities for financial growth start appearing in your life, seemingly out of nowhere. You might get an unexpected job offer. A new client might reach out. Someone might offer to pay you for a skill you didn't even know was valuable. Your old programming will try to convince you these are coincidences, but they're not. They're responses to your new energetic frequency. When you stop rejecting abundance internally, The external world starts offering it to you more frequently. By week 3, most women experience what I call capacity expansion. This is when your ability to receive doubles, triples, or even grows by 10 times what it was before. You find yourself able to accept praise without deflecting. You raise your prices without apologizing. You ask for what you want without feeling guilty. You say yes to opportunities that your old self would have found too intimidating or too good to be true. This expansion can feel almost disorienting because it happens so quickly, but it's a sign that your nervous system is adapting to your new identity as a woman who receives. And by month 1, you'll begin experiencing what I call identity integration. This is when receiving abundance stops feeling foreign or scary and starts feeling natural. You no longer have to consciously remember to use your practices because they've become automatic. You no longer question whether you deserve financial success because you know at a cellular level that you do. You no longer fear that receiving money will make you a bad person because you've proven to yourself that the opposite is true. The more you receive, the more generous you become. Now, I need to be honest with you about something. It's completely normal to cycle back to old patterns during this process. You might have a breakthrough on Tuesday and find yourself rejecting a financial opportunity on Wednesday. You might feel confident about your worthiness in the morning and doubt it by afternoon. This doesn't mean the practices aren't working. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. This means you're human, and you're in the process of rewiring patterns that have been running your life for decades. The key is to be gentle with yourself when these reversions happen. Don't use them as evidence that transformation is impossible. Use them as information about where you still need healing. Every time you notice yourself slipping back into old patterns of rejection, celebrate your awareness and gently guide yourself back to the new patterns of receiving. Share with me in the comments, which milestone resonates most with where you are right now? Are you just beginning to notice your patterns of financial rejection? Are you starting to experience small acceptances? Are you seeing new opportunities emerge? Are you feeling your capacity to receive expanding? Or have you reached that place where receiving feels natural? I want to know where you are in this journey so I can support you more specifically. Here's where most women give up. Right around week 2 or 3, when the opportunities start emerging and the capacity starts expanding, the old programming fights back harder than ever. It whispers things like, "This is too good to last," or "You're setting yourself up for disappointment," or "You don't really deserve this level of abundance." But you're not most women. You've made it this far in this teaching because something in your soul knows you're meant for more than struggle. Now we need to talk about what will try to stop you, because knowledge of these obstacles is power over them. There are 5 specific fears that arise when women start receiving money abundantly, and each one is a gateway to deeper freedom if you know how to work with it skillfully. The first obstacle is the fear of becoming a bad person. This fear usually sounds like, what if money changes me? What if I become greedy, shallow, materialistic? What if I lose my values? What if I stop caring about things that really matter? This fear is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what money actually is. Money is not good or evil. Money is neutral energy that amplifies whatever is already inside you. If you're a generous person, money will make you more generous. If you're a loving person, money will give you more resources to express love. If you're committed to making a positive difference in the world, money will expand your ability to do that. The women who become bad with money were operating from scarcity and fear before they had money. Money didn't create their character flaws. It simply revealed and amplified them. When you approach money from a foundation of self-love and spiritual alignment, money becomes a tool for good in your hands. The second obstacle is family guilt. This sounds like, no one in my family has ever had money like this. My parents struggled their whole lives. My grandmother lived through the Depression. Who am I to have more than they did? I'm betraying my roots if I become wealthy. This guilt is one of the most powerful forces keeping women trapped in financial limitation, because it masquerades as loyalty when it's actually self-abandonment. Your ancestors didn't struggle so that you would struggle too. They struggled so that you could have better options. When you reject abundance because your family didn't have it, You're not honoring their sacrifice. You're wasting it. The greatest gift you can give to your lineage is to heal the pattern of financial struggle so that future generations don't have to carry it. The third obstacle is scarcity thinking. That sounds like, if I have money, someone else won't have enough. I'm taking resources away from people who need them more than I do. I should be satisfied with less, so others can have more. This thinking is based on the illusion that there's a finite amount of money in the world, like a pie that gets smaller every time someone takes a slice. But money doesn't work like pie. Money is energy that expands when it's circulated with love. When you receive money abundantly and use it consciously, you create more abundance for everyone around you. You support other businesses, you tip generously, you donate to causes you care about, you invest in products and services that help other people thrive. Abundance is contagious. When you receive it fully, you give others permission to do the same. The fourth obstacle is judgment terror. This fear whispers, what will people think? They'll call me materialistic, shallow, money-obsessed. They'll think I've lost my spiritual center. They'll be jealous or resentful. They'll treat me differently. I'll lose friends. Let me tell you something that might sting at first, but will ultimately set you free. The people who judge you for having money are revealing their own wounds around money, not your character flaws. True friends celebrate your success. Loving people want you to thrive. Anyone who judges you for receiving abundance is operating from their own scarcity programming, and their opinion is not a reflection of your worth. You cannot make yourself small enough to make insecure people feel better, and you shouldn't try. The fifth and deepest obstacle is responsibility terror. This fear sounds like, what if I can't handle having money? What if I make bad decisions? What if I lose it all? What if people expect things from me that I can't deliver? What if having money means I have to be perfect? This fear is actually fear of your own power. Fear of stepping fully into the magnificent being you came here to be. Yes, having more money means having more responsibility, but you're not being given anything you can't handle. The universe doesn't make mistakes. If opportunities for abundance are flowing toward you, it's because you have the capacity to steward them wisely. Trust yourself. Trust the wisdom that lives in your body. Trust the love that guides your choices. Each of these obstacles dissolves when met with self-compassion and courageous honesty. You don't have to eliminate all fear before you start receiving. You just have to be willing to feel the fear and receive anyway. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is information about where your next edge of growth lives. As you begin applying these teachings and practices, your inner world will start shifting first, and then your outer world will begin to reflect those changes. I want you to know what to look for so you can track your progress and trust the process even when the old voice of doubt tries to convince you that nothing is happening. The micro signs appear first, often within the first week. You'll notice that you stop automatically apologizing when someone wants to pay you fairly for your work. You'll catch yourself saying, thank you, when someone compliments your skills instead of deflecting with, oh, it was nothing. You'll find that you can receive a gift without immediately thinking about how you need to reciprocate or whether you deserve it. These shifts might seem small, but they represent fundamental changes in your energetic relationship with receiving. A woman named Chloe shared with me that her first sign was incredibly simple but profound. She had always insisted on paying for coffee when she met friends, even when money was tight for her. One day, a friend offered to buy her coffee, and instead of her usual, "No, I've got it," she heard herself saying, "That would be wonderful, thank you." She said it felt like speaking a foreign language at first, but her body immediately relaxed in a way she hadn't felt in years. The medium-level signs typically appear in the second and third weeks. Opportunities for financial growth start manifesting seemingly out of nowhere. A former colleague calls with a freelance project. A neighbor mentions they need help with something you're skilled at and want to pay you for it. A client refers you to someone who becomes a regular source of income. People start offering to help you in ways that feel genuine and generous rather than pitying or condescending. During this phase, you might notice what psychologists call an extinction burst, where your old patterns of self-sabotage actually get louder and more dramatic before they disappear completely. This can be confusing because it might feel like you're getting worse instead of better. Your inner critic might become more vicious. Your impulses to reject opportunities might become stronger. This is actually a sign that the old programming is dying. And like any dying thing, it fights hardest right before it lets go. Let me tell you about a woman named Millicent who experienced this phenomenon powerfully. She was a massage therapist who had been undercharging for her services for 15 years. When she started practicing these receiving techniques, she decided to raise her rates from $60 to $90 per session. The day before she was supposed to implement the increase, she had what she called a complete meltdown. She was convinced no one would pay the higher rate, that she would lose all her clients, that she was being ridiculous and greedy. But she raised her rates anyway, and not only did she keep all her existing clients, but 3 new clients booked sessions that same week. The macro signs usually emerge around the 1-month mark and continue expanding from there. Your overall income increases without you having to work significantly more hours. Your relationship with money becomes easeful instead of stressful. You start making financial decisions from abundance consciousness instead of scarcity fear. People begin commenting on how different you seem, how much more confident and radiant you appear. But here are some signs you might not expect. Your physical health often improves when you start receiving abundantly, because your nervous system is no longer chronically activated by financial stress. Your sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. Your digestion improves because you're not constantly holding tension in your stomach about money. Your skin might even become clearer and more vibrant because you're no longer carrying the toxic stress of financial struggle. Your relationships also shift in profound ways. You attract people who support your abundance instead of those who keep you small. You find yourself naturally distancing from people who constantly complain about money or try to make you feel guilty for your success. Your family dynamics might change as you stop playing the role of the struggling daughter or sister and start showing up as the prosperous woman you truly are. A woman named Zelda told me that the most surprising sign for her was that her dreams changed. She said that for years, her anxiety dreams had always involved scenarios where she couldn't pay bills or had no money. After 6 weeks of practicing receiving, she started having dreams where she was confidently handling large sums of money, making wise investments, and generously sharing her abundance with others. Her subconscious mind was literally reorganizing itself around prosperity instead of lack. Stay quiet with me for just 5 seconds. Don't think, don't analyze, just feel how far you've already come in this journey. Feel the possibility that's opening in your heart right now. Perhaps the most profound sign is what I call the mirror effect. You start noticing abundance everywhere around you because your perception has been cleansed of scarcity filters. You see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You hear possibility where you once heard problems. You feel excited about the future where you once felt anxious. The world hasn't changed, but your ability to see its richness has been restored to its natural clarity. Look how far you've traveled in this hour. You began by recognizing the unconscious pattern that 93% of women carry, the programming that says receiving money is dangerous, selfish, or wrong. You've learned practices that rewire your nervous system to welcome abundance instead of rejecting it. You've identified the specific obstacles that try to keep you trapped in financial struggle, and you've seen the signs that confirm your transformation is already underway. But I want to share with you the most profound story of financial transformation I've ever witnessed, because it will show you just how powerful you truly are, how completely your life can change when you finally claim your divine right to prosper. Her name was Octavia, and she was 62 years old when this happened. For her entire life, she had lived paycheck to paycheck, despite being one of the most intelligent, creative, hardworking women I'd ever met. She was a retired librarian who had spent 41 years helping others find the information they needed, but she had never been able to find financial security for herself. Then, 3 weeks after her retirement party, she received a phone call that would test everything she believed about money and worthiness. Her great-aunt Imogen, whom she had met only twice in her life, had died and left her an inheritance. Not a small inheritance. Not a modest sum that would help with groceries for a few months. $734,000. More money than Octavia had ever imagined having. Certainly more money than she believed she deserved. The lawyer who called her could hear the shock in her voice when he told her the amount. He scheduled an appointment for the following Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning to go over the paperwork. But by Monday evening, Octavia had convinced herself that accepting this money would somehow be wrong. She called the lawyer and told him she wanted to donate the entire inheritance to charity. She couldn't possibly accept such a large sum. It was too much. She hadn't earned it. Other people needed it more than she did. The lawyer, who had been handling estates for 37 years, told her something that stopped her in her tracks. He said, "Ma'am, I've seen hundreds of people reject inheritances over the years, and in every single case, it wasn't really about the money. It was about whether they believed they were worthy of being loved, of being chosen, of being blessed. Your great-aunt Imogen specifically chose you. She could have left this money to anyone, but she left it to you. When you reject her gift, you're not being humble. You're rejecting her love." That night, Octavia couldn't sleep. She sat in her small apartment, surrounded by the books she had collected over decades of modest living, feeling the weight of a choice that would define the rest of her life. She could feel her body physically rejecting the idea of receiving such abundance. Her chest felt tight. Her stomach was churning. Her hands were literally shaking at the thought of accepting $734,000. But then she remembered something Louise Hay had taught. When you reject abundance, you are committing an act of violence against your own spirit. And suddenly, Octavia understood. Her refusal to receive wasn't protecting anyone. It wasn't helping anyone. It was simply perpetuating a pattern of unworthiness that had been running her family's lineage for generations. At 4:57 on Tuesday morning, she called the lawyer and told him she would be there for the 10:30 appointment. But more than that, she would be there as a woman who was finally ready to receive. When she signed those papers, accepting her great-aunt's gift, she felt something shift in her body that she had never experienced before. The tightness in her chest dissolved. The churning in her stomach settled. Her hands stopped shaking and became steady, confident, capable. But here's what happened next that proved to Octavia that this transformation was real. She didn't hoard the money. She didn't hide it away out of fear of losing it. She didn't apologize for having it. Instead, she used $30,000 to renovate her apartment into a beautiful, comfortable space worthy of the woman she was becoming. She invested $200,000 in a diversified portfolio that would provide steady income. She donated $50,000 to the library where she had worked, funding a literacy program for children. And she used the rest to start a small publishing company focused on amplifying voices of women over 60 who had stories to tell. 3 years later, that publishing company had not only sustained itself, but had grown into a thriving business that employed 12 other women and had published 47 books. The money her great-aunt left her had multiplied into abundance that served dozens of people. This is what happens when a woman receives abundantly and uses that abundance consciously. It doesn't diminish anyone. It elevates everyone it touches. Octavia told me that the moment she signed those papers, she felt every woman in her lineage exhale with relief. She felt her grandmother, who had cleaned houses for wealthy families while her own children wore second-hand clothes, finally smile. She felt her mother, who had worked 3 jobs to keep the family afloat, finally rest. She felt her own daughter, who had been unconsciously modeling her financial struggles, suddenly stand a little straighter with new possibility. When one woman heals her relationship with money, she heals it for 7 generations backward and 7 generations forward. When one woman steps into her power to receive abundantly, she gives every woman in her sphere permission to do the same. You have come this far because your soul knows you are meant for more than financial struggle. You have listened to this entire teaching because something in you recognizes the truth of your inherent worthiness. You have stayed present for 51 minutes of deep transformation work because you are not a woman who settles for less than what she desires. You are not here by accident. Your presence in this moment is not coincidental. You are being called to step into your role as a woman who receives abundantly, not because you are special or chosen above others, but because you are finally ready to remember what has always been true. Abundance is your birthright. Prosperity is your spiritual inheritance, and receiving money abundantly is not selfish, but sacred. Place both hands over your heart now and feel the power that lives there. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat beneath your palms, the rhythm that has been steady and faithful since before you were born, the rhythm that will carry you forward into a life of unprecedented abundance and joy. This is the moment when everything changes. This is the moment when you stop being a woman who struggles with money and become a woman who flows with abundance. This is the moment when you stop apologizing for your desires and start claiming them boldly. This is the moment when you stop rejecting your divine inheritance and start receiving it fully. I want you to speak these words with me now, first as a whisper, then in your normal voice, then as a firm declaration that reaches every corner of your being and every realm of the universe. Let your first repetition be a confession, a secret you're sharing with your own soul. Let your second repetition be a decision, a choice you're making consciously. Let your third repetition be a decree, a law you're establishing in your reality. First, as a whisper, let your deepest truth emerge. I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Say it softly, like a prayer, like a promise you're making to yourself. I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Feel the words moving through your body like warm light, touching every place where you've held fear about money, every place where you've carried guilt about wanting more, every place where you've believed the lie that struggle equals virtue. Now, in your normal speaking voice, let this be your conscious choice. I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Let the words fill the space around you. Let them vibrate in your bones. Let them rewire every neural pathway that ever told you receiving money was dangerous. Let them override every program that ever convinced you that suffering was spiritual. And now, with the full authority of your divine nature, with the complete power of a woman who knows her worth, declare this truth so loudly that it echoes through your lineage and ripples out to touch every woman who will come after you. I accept my divine inheritance of unlimited prosperity. Let this declaration shake loose every doubt, every fear, every inherited pattern of lack that has been keeping you small. Let it establish a new reality where abundance flows to you as naturally as breath flows through your lungs. Now we seal this transformation with your new identity. Speak these words with me in the same 3 levels, letting each repetition anchor deeper into who you are becoming. First, as a whisper of recognition, I am prosperous. Say it like you're meeting yourself for the first time, like you're discovering a truth that's been hidden but was always there. I am prosperous. Now, as a clear statement of fact, I am prosperous. No doubt, no qualification, no apology. Simply the truth of who you are. I am prosperous. And now, with the full authority of a woman who has claimed her power, declare your ultimate identity. I am abundance personified. Feel the truth of these words settling into your cells. Feel them rewiring your nervous system. Feel them establishing new neural pathways that support prosperity instead of sabotaging it. Feel them activating dormant potentials for wealth creation that have been waiting your entire life for this moment of activation. Remember the question I asked you at the very beginning. Do you know why you reject money exactly at the moment when you need it most? Now you know the answer. You reject money not because you don't need it, not because you don't deserve it, not because there isn't enough of it. You reject money because you were never taught that receiving is safe, that abundance is spiritual, that prosperity is your divine right. But that programming ends here. That pattern stops with you. That inheritance of financial struggle dies in this moment and is replaced by an inheritance of unlimited abundance. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, if you've done this profound work of reclaiming your relationship with money, I want you to subscribe to this channel because you are now part of a community of women who are rewriting the rules about what it means to be spiritual and prosperous, feminine, and financially powerful. This is not the end of your transformation. This is the beginning. For the next 21 days, practice everything we've explored today. Use your receiving anchor every time money approaches. Speak your morning mantra before you get out of bed. Visualize yourself receiving abundantly without resistance. Notice when the old patterns try to reassert themselves and gently guide your energy back to these new patterns of prosperity. 21 days from now, I want you to come back to this video and share your victory in the comments. Tell us about the first time you received money without apologizing. Tell us about the opportunity that appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Tell us about the moment when your body finally relaxed into knowing that you are worthy of abundance. Your story will give other women permission to claim their own prosperity. And if this teaching has moved you, if it has shifted something fundamental in how you see yourself and your relationship with money, you might consider leaving a coffee in the pinned comment. Not as payment, not as obligation, but as an energetic exchange that says, I am a woman who circulates abundance freely because I know there is always more where that came from. Whatever you plant in the energy of generosity returns to you multiplied beyond your ability to imagine. But whether you leave a coffee or not, whether you comment or not, whether you subscribe or not, know this. You are forever changed by the choice you made to stay present for this teaching. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unfeel what you have felt. You cannot go back to unconsciously rejecting the abundance that is your spiritual birthright. It is done. It is established. It is law in your reality now. You are no longer a woman who struggles with money. You are a woman who flows with abundance. You are no longer a woman who apologizes for her desires. You are a woman who claims them boldly. You are no longer a woman who believes she must suffer to be good. You are a woman who knows that prosperity and goodness are perfect partners in the dance of conscious living. Breathe this truth into every cell of your being. Money loves you. Abundance adores you. Prosperity is pursuing you with the same passion with which you have been pursuing your healing. And now, finally, you are ready to receive it all. It is finished. It is sealed. It is so.